Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Turquoise and Sasquatch, with me, Wendy Wilson. Today is Thursday, December 29th, 2022. Almost New Year's, almost 2023. So, I haven't been able to get on, but I wanted to get on to tell you what happened to me after that night. My previous episode, I talked about Christmas and Jesus. Well, that night was not a very good night for me. I started having really, really bad nightmares. I feel like I was being attacked. The way the whole night went, it was like nightmare after nightmare. And my dog that passed away, she was in one of my dreams, and it actually started with her. So it started kind of mild. I went to bed like I normally, it was nothing out of the ordinary. I went to bed. The next thing I know, I heard a sound towards my closet door. And I know in my dream I got up and checked, and it was my dog. I saw her there. And normally, like, when she was alive, sometimes she would lay kind of in front of my closet door, and when she flopped over, like, I would hear the door move. That's what I heard. So in my dream, I'm looking down and I see her. And I think to myself, wait a minute, she's gone. That's not her. So I was like, okay, that's not her. I went back to lay down in my dream. So I'm laying back down in bed. And on my left, which is, the side that hits like my closet door, I felt her. I felt her get up. Basically, she was standing on her back two legs, and then her front legs, she was pawing at me. And she kept pawing and pawing and pawing. And I looked over, and I saw her little face. And she kept pawing and pawing and pawing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not her, that's not her. And I tried to kind of like, wake up. So I just remember, like, I woke myself up, but I fell back into like a different, like, it was like nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. The last nightmare I had, it was almost like one of those things where I'd wake up and my eyes were so heavy, I'll fall back asleep and either into a different nightmare or the same. And that actually hasn't happened to me since I was like in my late teens, early 20s. It was a time period for me that I had about 4 nights a week that I would have those types of dreams. And I would try, at the time I didn't know that you could pray. I learned how to, kind of manipulate the dream. I learned how to, if I saw, like, if I was in a nightmare, and I learned how to say, no, no, no. Like, this isn't going to happen. Like, I'm not going to be here. And I learned to kind of end up somewhere else, not in the situation that I was in. So I learned to do that. But I didn't know prayer worked. So that particular night, that day that I did my show about Christmas and Jesus, that night, it was almost like I could not pray. I couldn't get the words out. It just, I was so out of it and kept falling into different nightmare after nightmare after nightmare until, I don't know if it was around 5 a.m. or so. I had this other dream or nightmare that, the funny thing is, all of these took place in my bed. Like, I know I'm dreaming. I'm on my bed, everything on my bed. So I'm laying there, And then I see two entities. These two entities are coming from my left again. And it was almost like a misty brown entity. And the other one, it was almost like a clear. I couldn't really make out the second one. But the first one that was closer to me, it was kind of like brownish. It was, I saw the figure. It was like a human figure. The brown one started, like, they both started grabbing me and basically grabbing my left side, the left side of my body. They were pulling me kind of like off the bed. And in my dream, my husband woke up and he jumped up and he looked, and it was almost like he was like, what are they? What's going on? What are those things? And he grabs me and he's pulling me towards him, like away from them, but they're pulling me, so I'm being pulled both ends. And he's trying to hold me, and he's like questioning like what's going on, like what's happening. But it was a dream because I snapped out of it, and like I remember like opening my eyes and my husband's like next to me asleep. And then I think to myself, do not go to sleep, do not go to sleep. And then I thought, okay, you need to pray, you need to pray. And I was thinking, you need a hedge of protection, you need a hedge of protection. My phone is usually on my left, like on the little thing I have there. So I unplug my phone and I'm looking for like prayer, like scripture, anything. So I start reading Psalm 91. So I'm there like reading all of like Psalm 91, and I'm reading it and I'm like, like basically like concentrating and like saying things like, in my heart. And I'm just like, oh, and I read that prayer and I'm thinking, okay, it's like I want to keep reading it. I want to make sure like I don't go back to sleep. My husband wakes up and he's like, what are you doing looking at your phone? Like, I guess at this time. And I'm like, I basically said, I'm reading Psalm 91. I'm reading, like scripture. And he goes back to sleep. So I stay reading for like a little bit longer. And then I fell asleep. But I did not go back into any, it was just like a normal sleep cycle. Like I was fine. I didn't have any nightmare. I don't even know if I dreamt. Like it was fine. Of course, my husband didn't know anything about it. I told him, he had no clue. So whatever nightmare, he really didn't wake up. So then I thought to myself, okay, something happened. Like, what did I do? Like during that day, like what did I do? Because I felt like I was being attacked. And the only thing that I did that was out of the ordinary was post my video on Christmas and Jesus. It's kind of, they terrify me so much that I actually started questioning, should I even have like a YouTube channel? Should I even have a channel where I speak about all these things? But then I thought, well, none of the other ones, like I didn't have nightmares of anything else. My nightmares, like that night, was because I talked about Jesus. And whatever I said, I didn't think it was anything spectacular or anything. I was just talking about what I thought, and but I guess something didn't like it. Darkness didn't like me talking about Jesus, because I was attacked. So, and maybe that's one reason why I haven't posted anything yet. I don't know. I was busy. I'm getting old and so much to do. And yesterday I did like so much. I have a big house and I had to, luckily I'd polished my floors the week before, because I wanted my floors nice and polished before Christmas. So luckily I didn't have to do that, but I had to vacuum, like I had to clean, and I'm getting old, because before I used to like run circles and I used to do everything, and now it's like, oh my gosh, I'm like exhausted. My back hurts. So I kind of been busy, and then just been tired. I've been exhausted. So, I didn't get a chance to get on, but I wanted to kind of get on here to let you know. I have very vivid dreams, also nightmares. And I know something was like, because everything happened like on my bed. Like I was in my bed when all these things were coming at me. So I was just thinking, what did I do? It wasn't until I started looking for scripture and I started to read, because Psalm 91 is the thing I go to all the time. Then I felt, okay, I'm good. I feel safe. I feel protected. It's just weird. I mean, I didn't think, I don't know. I guess whatever it was didn't like me talking about Jesus and, that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm going to basically wish you a happy new year. I know 2023 is like a couple of days away. So what are you guys doing? Like, I know it's like a scary, trying to see what 2023 is going to bring. We were actually looking to order like our seeds. We need to start getting like heirloom. That way we don't have to depend on seeds, because you never know how things are going to turn out, and you don't even know how the weather. I don't want to talk too much into like rabbit holes or anything, because I'm sure you probably don't want to hear that kind of stuff, at least not right today or whatever. But things can change. Things can change in an instant. And so we were just kind of ordering, or trying to figure out which seeds and what worked last year and what didn't in our garden. Just because I think we need to depend on our garden more. And I was choosing flowers, and I'm so disappointed because I had planned on some pretty flowers, but then if it wasn't for the rabbit, the deer, they just kind of wiped me out. Like I had really pretty flowers in my garden because that's all protected. But even the ones up here, like I have like lilies that are protected because a deer will eat the lilies and the groundhogs. And something got in through the mesh that they're protected in and ate them. And I didn't even get a flower last year. Normally it's a cluster and they get bigger and bigger each year. And I didn't get any. So I'm kind of disappointed because I grow beautiful. I love those big dahlias. And I only got a couple, and they were smaller. But I didn't have any pretty flowers in the front of my house. This past spring spring I had some really pretty Shirley Temple peonies. Like those white pretty peonies. I did have those. Okay, so I did have those. I did have irises, like those bearded irises. Okay, so I did have flowers. Okay, I did. I had Estella de Oro. I think that's what they're called. They're a little bell-like. They're yellow, and they're really pretty. So I had daffodils. Okay, so I did have spring and a few summer. I did. But the ones that I kind of really wanted to kind of take off, they got kind of taken out by deer, rabbit, groundhogs too. So I kind of picked some out, and I got to see where I'm going to put them. My husband said we'll protect them, but even if by protecting them, they still get kind of eaten. So we'll see. But we're getting ready. You can start planting potatoes soon. I think in about March or so, I think. So this season, we're going to do more potatoes, because we're just finished up our potatoes that we harvested, and we had tomatoes. I think a few days ago, I used up our last tomato from the garden. So we're going to figure things out and see what we can do. But if you can, you should garden because you never know. Even if you have like a small space, you can put kind of. Okay, so I planted. We found a potato. I guess it must have fallen off. I don't know. It was under like where we keep our microwave. This thing, and it started to grow like it had like a little plant growing out of it. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I picked it up, and my husband's like, oh, you should just kind of plant it in a pot, see what happens. We had no idea like what kind of potato it was because it had already kind of shriveled up. All it was like a little thing of green. I planted it in one of my pots on the front porch. And a few days ago, we saw a squirrel dig up a red potato. And as the squirrel was sitting there eating this little red potato. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was growing red potatoes in the pot. Like the squirrel found them. And if we don't grow anything, I guess it would be food for the squirrel. But I was actually growing them in a pot. And it was like this cute little red potato. And you should have seen it. It had it in its little hands. And it was just eating away. So, you can probably grow them in pots. But I hope you're having a great week. I just figured kind of get on here and let you know what's been happening. I know my mom asked me, like, had I taken any pictures? Had I seen like the creatures? This time of year, it's too cold. Especially this week, it was so cold. I don't go out if I don't have to. I'm not taking pictures out there. Sometimes I take pictures and things just kind of show up. When I look out this window, like the sunsets or whatever, something's in the trees. But other than by accident, it's too cold. We did hear. Okay, so last night. Well, let me tell you what happened a couple of nights ago first, and then I'll tell you last night. A couple of nights ago, we were watching a movie in the dining room. We were seeing it because we had eaten dinner, and then we were watching the movie, so we were just kind of finished watching it when we were sitting there, and we heard something get thrown to like landed on our window. Like we heard like something hit the glass, and we both looked at each other. And he's like, it's too cold for that to be a bug. It's too cold for bugs to be out there hitting windows now. So I figured one of the creatures must have thrown something at the window to let us know, hey, we're here. But we only heard it once. And then last night, we were laying down in bed already. And I heard something get on our porch. Like I heard like the creaking sound, or like I heard the porch, like something stepped on the porch. And then I heard a tap. And then my husband, I didn't say anything. I heard it. My husband jumps up and he starts looking out the blinds, like out the window. And I go, did you hear that? And he goes, yeah. And I go, did it sound like a tap? And he was like, yeah, but there's nothing out there. He was like, he was looking, and he's like, there's nothing out there. So whatever it was, like I heard like the wood. I heard the sound of the wood, and then we heard the tap. And he jumped up and he went to check, like instantly, but he didn't see anything. There was nothing out there. So I think, again, letting us know we're here. But that was it. It was only once. I think that's about it that we've had this week. Usually I do feel like they're kind of looking. I just haven't taken pictures, or I haven't done anything towards the windows or anything. I was working up here, my loft, one night, and I was listening to music, but I figured I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. I'm not going to even check, I was actually in a corner. So I'm thinking, you can't see me over here. But I didn't come look, or I didn't hear anything. But that's what's been going on. I hope everyone's having like have a happy new year. Be safe out there and stay warm. I think we're getting like better temperatures. It's going to get a little bit warmer. So hopefully wherever you're at, you stay warm and be careful while you're out there if you decide to do anything New Year's Eve. But have a great week. Bye.